Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast. Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about fabrication. Being able to take care of your own problems. I think what actually sparked this idea with me was I kind of am setting up like a hobby farm homestead kind of action. And we're looking at smaller things and a decent tractor with like a bucket and something cool. Usually the packages are like 25,000. Get you a little trailer, a smaller tractor where you can pull lots of like PTO things and whatever. I want to get there, and being a fully capable, functioning farm, you're going to need these things. But that's a little out of my budget, and I'm not really there yet. And I'm not the guy who wants to get into debt. I don't want to get into trouble. So I got a four-wheeler, and I found out you could get a lot of these attachments. Now, something that could take me 2 hours to do with a big tractor, I can do in 4 or 5 hours with the four-wheeler and these attachments. So it's kind of cool, and it gets me closer, right? Because it's also something that would take me a week if I was doing it by hand. So that's where It's huge, right? So when I started looking at it, it was hard to make the connections from certain attachments to mount up to my four-wheeler without buying like 8 different things. Like, this will get you to this size and this will get you to this size. And people are like, good luck finding a sleeve that'll mount hard to your trailer, your four-wheeler, and, to put in the attachments and, be able to support the weight and things like that. And I started thinking about that, and all my buddies were like, yeah, you just weld it. What do you mean good luck finding it? You just attach it, And That's the thing. If you're really going to make it on any kind of budget, you need to kind of have a machine shop or something kind of going on your farm, or like I said, your homestead, your off-grid site, your location. If you're I can take care of and do myself kind of guy, you need to start setting up a world where you can handle things without running to the hardware store or ordering on Amazon the right thing. And as a prepper and being able to survive in any world, being able to put things together or make little quick welds and things like that, or being able to have a drill press where you can drill big holes in things, or you can, a bandsaw where you can cut off, your big, thick, farm attachment to make it fit in a different application. These things are huge for self-reliance. Being able to really take care of yourself makes a difference. And it honestly is going to save you a lot of money in the long run, as far as having to order different implements or different things to make attach, when you're like, well, if it just went like this, I could just put it together and we'd have no problem. Now, welding is definitely an art form, and people can expand it to any level that you want. But it also is something that in an hour of training and 4 or 5 hours practice, you could be doing on your own reasonably quality work that's going to stick together. It might not be the prettiest thing, but I mean, you get there, you should be able to, stick a razor blade on the front of your bumper and, make it the Deathmobile from what is the movie? Road Warrior?
Road Warrior, Mad Max.
So,
I'll tell you what.
If we're going to have Thunderdome vehicles.
Yeah, it's time. And it's time, man. This is the apocalypse, and it's time for the Thunderdome. My wife was talking to me the other day and told me that we need to start dressing more appropriately. I'm going to work with jeans and work boots, and she thinks I should do like a mohawk, maybe like shoulder pads with, spikes on them and shit.
And assless chaps.
Assless chaps. Yep.
Whatever,
I mean, the whole
right?
thing. The whole thing. I mean, watch any of those Road Warrior movies with Mel Gibson, the older ones, and they really have the look down. That's what I'm going for. Some of you more like creative guys. Yeah. Some of you more creative guys might want to be doing like steampunk or apocalypse styles. But it's time to change up our looks, man. We got to get ready.
Yeah.
The end is there.
That sounds right. You guys need to step up your prepping game, and I think that maybe this is the way to do it is learning some fabrication, how to and also just think of what welding could do for your outfits. If you need to weld together your outfit, you're setting some fashion standards. Yeah,
that's right, man. You're already setting the tone for the new world.
So one of these things, like I actually worked out, I'm still setting up the new shop and moving my equipment. A lot of stuff is still in storage. And so I was worried about these attachments. And luckily, the place where I work actually has kind of a shop just available to me. I'm an electrician, and the electricians and the mechanics kind of work hand in hand. And we basically have all a workshop available to us to go do anything we need to do. And this includes like a 10-foot bandsaw, I mean, that's pretty freaking cool that, 10 foot, right. It doesn't get hot, you can just kind of burn through things like butter, and I was like, oh yeah, look at that. I can cut that trailer hitch right in half without even thinking about it.
No problem.
That's not something I can do in my, normal setup. We have a chop saw with a big grinding disc on it. I'm mentioning these things because these are things you might want to add to your, world. Right. To be able to just walk in and chop anything at any time, easy as could be. At a minimum, you should have a belt grinder. You should have an air compressor. You should have a couple air tools that, whatever. I haven't set up my stuff here, but there will be again, I'm only months at my new location here. So actually like a month and a half, and I've been working on the house and whatever. So I haven't gotten things set up yet. But in my barn, there's going to be an air compressor and, a big long air hose on a reel. In my house, I'm so cool now. I have a second house with a shop in it. And over there's going to be an air compressor because tools and being able to grind stuff, now for the smaller where I do, gun parts and things like that, I have things like Dremel tools and things like that, and a little drill press and different things. And for some reason that we're not allowed to mention in public, I may have a router. I don't know what you could be routing, but
what you would
I like custom woodwork is what,
Yeah, no, yeah. It's nice for the edges of shelves and things. Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Right. Now, I one thing I want to touch on real quick when we're talking about, putting together a good shop is drills. Now, screw guns are great, and they do a lot. They've been coming out with the impact screw guns.
Yes.
And they have made like great strides. But you were mentioning earlier air, and if you have the ability or access to compressed air, you can really get some, heavy duty equipment. If you don't have that, think about getting cord drills with cords on them, because they're still going to give you more torque than a battery charged one, or at least, you might be able to get the torque out of a battery powered drill, but you're going to knock those batteries out real fast. And if you have an air compressor or a corded drill, you can just go all day and knock things out with it without having to worry about, all right, guys, got to take a half-hour break and let this other battery charge up again.
Exactly.
If
you're me, you have about 8 batteries on backup to keep in a rotation. But no, that's
as everybody should.
A legitimate point. Well, I just have it because I keep replacing drills, and the batteries seem to last longer than the drills.
Tell you also go to a if you're looking for a corded drill or an air impact gun, go to your pawn shops, man. They have them, and nobody wants them. You can get a $200 impact gun, air impact gun, at the pawn shop for $18. Some crackhead stole it, dropped it off there, and they got it on the shelf, and it's not moving anywhere. So they're ready to give that shit away. You might have to haggle a little bit, but that's what pawn shops are for. It's for haggling. You're ready to walk out the door with your money in your pocket. And
there's nothing wrong with stepping up your haggle game. So, a prepper should be able. Also, a large vise can be huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Believe it or not, at random, like I work in a big industrial kind of place. They change, the setup, and they'll be like, oh, we're throwing away that line. And there'll be $1,000 setups in there. And they're like, yeah, if you want to take it, just take it. I mean, you fill out a little card, we call them gate passes. Hey, I'm allowed to take this drill press home. Nobody needed it. And then they put in the new thing and are like, hey, we need a drill press. Oh, yeah, you should order one, about $2,000. No problem. Yeah. And, these kind of things, that's pretty cool.
And if you're not lucky like Chuck, you can find a lot of these things at estate sales.
Yeah.
I already mentioned pawn shops, yard sales.
And they come out of factories. People get them from their work, the ridiculously oversized drill press that they have in the garage, that really, and they're selling it for $200 or $100 or, these things that matters, I know my dad had kept for generations, has this big, I say generations, 30, 40 years, a shopsmith.
1.5 generations.
Right. A shopsmith, things like that which is like a lathe, a big sanding disc, has a belt sander, has all these different attachments and setups that you can still get stuff for, and that's pretty freaking awesome. And he's like, yeah, I've been saving it for you. You can come get it. And it's, here. And I haven't gotten off my ass. I guess that's a trip I need to take.
It is a heavy piece of equipment,
And you need room to store it and room to set it up. And I guess that's where the extra house comes in handy, right?
That's right. I mean, I feel like if you're a prepper, you should have some form of a shop, whether it's your garage or your basement. You should have some place where you're keeping your tools where you can set up and work on a big project. Because big projects, when they come up and you can do them yourself, man, that saves you a lot of money, and you can get a lot of work done by yourself working in your spare time,
Right.
Really big projects that might seem overwhelming to most people, if you invest the time and the effort in learning how to operate your tools, you can get a lot accomplished. I used to work for a company called Granger out in St. Louis, Missouri, and we did the interiors of Home Depots, the shelving and things like that.
Right.
And I remember bolting together it was in the lumber yard, and they have big steel uprights and then big steel arms that come off the uprights that the lumber sets on. And we were bolting those together one day, and the guy next to me turned around and he goes, "Man, I love steel." And I was like, that's a good point, man. If you can fabricate something out of steel, it's going to last forever, and it's going to hold up to almost anything,
Yeah, I mean, once you get into it and start to understand the different types of metal and their purposes and what you can do, it's a whole world open to you. And I'm not sure you guys want to, commit this much. You're like, hey, man, I'm trying to learn about guns. I'm trying to learn about farming. I'm trying to learn about, 100 other things. You pick and choose. But, we try and bring each aspect to you and let you kind of decide what's important to you. But all I know is if you can make your own shit, you can save so many man hours and so many dollars of things that, you could be spending on. And instead you're able to, just beef up your own setup and, set up your own lifestyle to work your way and customize it so that the world works for you instead of you working for the world.
That's right, brother.
There you go. All right. Also, to think like some big beefy wrenches. One of the things that was like such an asset that early on I learned from a mechanic friend is having a great like breaker bar kind of thing and stuff like that. So I started carrying a 1-inch piece of black pipe, like 36-inch long by 1 inch.
Right.
And I'm able to like throw that on a wrench or whatever and really muscle something off. Having leverage is huge. And I had to get a trailer hitch ball off something the other day. And I was at a buddy of mine's house. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pulling with my big wrench and I still can't get it. And he's like,
right.
Well, hang on a minute. And the guy had like a 6-foot long, like 1.5-inch square, like angle iron kind of thing. And we just slid that over a pipe wrench. And when you're 6 feet long and a giant piece of steel, it's impressive to have leverage.
Right.
But the idea is the right tool. I'd be sitting there crying for, hours and hours trying to work something out, and having the right tool, gets it done.
Problem solved.
And, one of the things is when opportunities come up, take them. I know at my job, I was just talking to Kevin a minute ago, and the idea is, they offered like crane school. Hey, you want to go to OSHA crane school? These are different things that you could take advantage of and, go out and, hey, just sign me up. Or, hey, we're offering a welding class. Anybody, in the company want to go do that, and the same thing applies. Maybe your company has like, hey, we're looking for somebody to be an EMT on the job site. Do you want to go do that? Take advantage when the opportunities come. Or maybe when your buddy's like, hey, I'm going to weld up that plow this weekend. You want to come give me a hand? Maybe you go learn and figure it out,
Right.
Take advantage of opportunities.
A lot of companies understand that you can be more valuable to them, with the more information you have. And a lot of companies that you guys work for, that I work for, that Chuck works for, they're willing to pay for certain certifications.
Yes.
And anything that you can have like that in your back pocket is a huge benefit, whether you're at that job or moving to a different job, having a 40-hour OSHA card, having even having a forklift license to operate forklifts. All those things can come in handy in your personal life. And a lot of the time it's going to make you, more valuable to an employer that, you might kick your income up a little bit,
Right. And plus, if you're into horror movies, I got to say that watching all the forklift videos is worth the price of admission for that. If you don't like horror movies, maybe forklifts aren't the right thing for you because the training there's a lot.
Yeah, or taking any of those first aid class where they teach you how to treat burns, because those things are awful. They'll show you all the
especially electrical burns. Nobody likes that.
Gross. I remember when I was in the Navy, when I was going through boot camp, they had me swear off sex for about 2 years, man, because they showed you all the STD videos.
And it looks like a cauliflower, and you're like, no!
And then they bring in lunch, like bagged lunch for you to eat. Nobody ate nothing after watching that shit. Oh, man.
I don't even like girls. What are you talking about? This is horrible.
Oh, they show you that one picture of somebody's crotch where the genital warts just went out of control.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that, man.
Exactly. Now, the crane school, I was like, hey, that could be me. That sounds good. And I'm reading the email from my boss, and it's like, hey, you should take this class. It'll be great for you. And, you can work the big cranes and whatever. And then it said at the bottom, P.S., please note that any lifts you do on site, you will be held personally responsible for any damage you cause.
Yep.
And that's the kind of thing that scared me. I was like, I'm not sure I want that all on my hand. Yeah. And then they're going to be like, Yeah, go ahead.
A friend of mine used to. He was not a crane operator. He worked for an electric company, and he worked on the weekends. You know, they had like a skeleton crew moving around, all like just the stuff that had to be done when most of the guys weren't in. And there was a crane operator operating, and he had the little portable TV in his box there where he's watching the football game on Sunday. And so they had to stop and readjust the wheels at the top of the crane. So
how do I know?
So they took a Tyvek suit and filled it up with clothing. You know, packed it like a dummy, like a person.
Yeah.
And carried it up to the top of the crane when the guy wasn't looking, and threw it off the top and started screaming. So the guy operating the crane freaked out, and instead of running over to see what happened, he grabbed his little portable TV and ran over and threw it in the dumpster so he wouldn't get busted when they were asking why the guy got killed. Yeah,
that's awesome.
This guy's always been a lunatic, so he's always got the best stories of doing stupid shit, you know?
Yeah, no, that sounds right.
I really appreciate somebody that's willing to do stupid shit and go the extra mile for a good laugh.
Oh, that's it. I mean, you know, sometimes you got to step it up, right? Those training videos. To also find out how your friends are really going to react to help you, you know, your coworkers.
Uh-huh.
You're like, oh, I see you got my back. Thanks, buddy. You know?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just wrong. Now, so there's another aspect, and that's welding. You know, welding is huge. Welding, you know, being able to add parts. There's a couple different types. What are the different types, Kevin?
Yeah, let's go through welding, because that's originally what this whole podcast was about, was welding. We haven't even talked about it.
Yeah, I like staying on point.
All right. Really, I mean, honestly, if you need welding done, the best bet is to find yourself a farm boy. I don't know why it is, but they all the best welders I know grew up on farms. Farmers know how to do it. Now, you remember that song, A Country Boy Can Survive by Hank Williams?
Hank Jr., I think. Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes, man. Country boys can handle all sorts of stuff that needs to get done. All right, so let's talk real quick about MIG welding.
All right.
MIG welding stands for metal inert gas, and it's a direct current welding system.
Now, if you guys are thinking, MIG is typically the one they call wire feed welding. Mm-hmm. And the way it works is you'll buy like I think they call it a flux core solder. Yeah. Flux core kind of wire that feeds through. And with that, basically, it allows the gases to, you know, come out through the wire. So as the wire is burning or arcing, then you end up, you know, letting the gas out, which will increase the heat. So it ends up paying off.
From oxygen getting into that and starting a fire of some sort, or, you know, doing something stupid. We should touch real quick on, if you're going to do any kind of welding, you should have a fire extinguisher next to you, because it is definitely it's a dangerous thing to be doing, especially if you're outside, you know, doing it instead of in a shop, you know, and you've got whatever dry grass and shit sitting around you. You should have your safety equipment ready to go before you start on anything.
Yeah, I mean, MIG welding is like a lot of, like, you think of like the tubular frames you do like when you're making race cars or aircraft, that kind of thing. It's just that you do run the risk of, it's easy to have it where you kind of weld the surface, but you don't kind of get down to the core, and you have to like develop a little, you know, pay attention a little to what you're doing. So something to learn into. But again, really the answer is you're going to want to take a class, or you're going to want to go find the guy who knows what they're doing and spend a little time with them. You know, that's really how we learn things. You know, that's how you learn about animals and chickens, and you have a buddy.
Yeah, you're not going to listen to this podcast and learn how to weld, because it's just not something you can talk about and learn how to do. The next main welding type of welding is TIG welding,
Right.
which stands for tungsten inert gas, and that's also a direct current type of welding.
Right.
Now, Chuck's an electrical technician. He could probably tell you the difference between alternating current and direct current.
Ooh. Direct current doesn't let go with you. Direct current doesn't let go of you. How about that? So instead of being like a sine wave where it goes up 110 and down 110 kind of thing and moving back and forth, basically you have a flat line and it's all up all the time. So it's that alternating is when you grab it and you explode off the equipment because it throws you. That's AC. And when you grab it and it just holds you and your arm's shaking and you're like, can't let go. Except you can't
somebody has to hit you with a 2x4 to knock you loose.
Except you can't do that because your jaw is locked shut by all your muscles contracting. That's usually DC. So just in case you were wondering, hence direct current where it's one constant level. So that basically TIG is stick welding. Again, not the master welder. I can just kind of fumble my way through things and make them stick together. Although I do plan to step up my abilities here. This is another chapter that I want to kind of grow. And I figure if my company's going to pay me to do it and let me spend some time, then I think I'm going to take advantage. There's also another cool thing called a plasma cutter. Now, it's basically like cutting with a torch, kind of.
You can be a lot more exact with a plasma cutter.
Right. It's basically arcs, as it burns, through. It's just kind of a neat thing. You're doing it by arcing instead of just melting. Kind of.
And I took a class, welding class, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. And I remember operating the plasma cutter, and it was honestly one of the coolest things I've ever done. Operating a plasma cutter is just so much fun. It's so easy, and you can make the coolest stuff, so fast, and even having almost no experience.
Yeah, they're really neat. The guy at work was like, "Hey, we're cutting this. You want to use the bandsaw or do you want to use the plasma cutter?" And I'm like, "Well, I know how to use the bandsaw." But maybe tomorrow when I go back to work, I'm going to check it out. I'll go over there and see if we can't cut out some fun designs, like, a big I Heart My Mom or something I could do,
Right.
See if I can't work out something good. Maybe just cut in the front of the bumper, I love my wife and just everything will be
That'll
better.
Get you so many brownie points, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Should be like, you should take more welding classes.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else to add to this story, bud?
No, I think that's it. Just realize having the tools at home, putting it together on your own, these are the kind of things that are going to help you get to self-reliant. And basically, that's the whole point of this show in general. Our podcast is to make it so you can handle your own shit. And I got to say, in a way, it's self-sufficient. Back in the day, we used to call it being a man. And I don't think it matters if you're a man or a woman. I know how to take care of things. And that used to be something in America that we had pride in. And we used to care about was being able to solve our own problems. There used to be real pride in being self-reliant and being able to handle it. And that's kind of what set this country apart and made people great. When people think of our founding fathers and, being cool like that, that's it, man. They were self-reliant. They handled their own shit. They didn't wait on anybody else. I think that's why most people find socialism and communism so offensive, is because it gets away from the self-reliance. It tells you, hey, we can all help each other and take care, but it gets people comfortable with not being able to take care of yourself. And when you can't take care of yourself, that's when you become a victim. That's when you're dependent and somebody can tell you what to do and they can make you do things. And the more you can do for yourself, the better off you're going to be and the better this country will be. So just take some time.
50 years ago, you couldn't find a man that couldn't fix a car, change a flat tire, change his alternator, pull his battery out. You couldn't find a man that wasn't able to do that. And right now, today, there's a lot of kids that have never even looked under the hood of their car.
And it wouldn't even occur to them that they could do it on their own. And that's what I worry about. So the more you can do to prepare and make your life, better suited to the world, the better off you're going to be, where you can self-prepare and self-diagnose and handle your own business. That's what's going to make America great. That's what's going to keep us, going. And that's what keeps you strong. And that's what keeps you from having to get in lines where you're dependent on somebody giving you a handout. Learn how to take care of yourself and build a world where you can do that better, and everything's going to be good. Just teach your kids that. Teach your kids to handle their own shit, and the world's going to be a better place. So with that, we're good?
We're good.
All right.
Check us out on Patreon.
All right.
If you wanted to donate to this very ad-free show, would help Chuck and I keep the
lights on, huh?
Show, right? If you guys have any specific questions that you want to get a hold of us for, you can email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. I know we got an email the other day about developing your own or picking out your own property as far as a bug out location or a off the grid location. And we did a show a while back, but I don't think it's available.
I couldn't find it. I think it might have been 90 days to prep, 90 days to an off grid lifestyle or something. It's the one that I found that looked closest, but I could have sworn we did one just on picking out a bug out location.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. We'll have to see if we can find it and do it.
Sometimes I have such clever names that
even you don't
I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's how good they are. I mean, I can fool myself. That's how genius we are. So, yeah. And hopefully we hear from Hamish. Hello.
Yeah.
Reach out. All right, man. So with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.